Can I just start with the Greenall inquiry, which reports this week we've recently seen renewed concern over a fire in a tower block in Dagenham. Will the government commit to accepting the Greenall inquiry report's recommendations?
Well, the Grenfell inquiry is reporting on next week as you know, and Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, will be responding to that when we see it, and of course the government will look extremely closely at that inquiry, and we want to see the truth. We want to see the truth of what happened and lessons learned, and we will take incredibly seriously the findings of that inquiry, and I don't think it would be right for us to sort of preempt that at this stage, but you can be assured that the government will respond fully and take on board that inquiry findings.
Thank you. Now, you've published a pretty busy legislative program. One item is it your intention to legislate to prevent people smoking in the open air.
Well, as you say, we've got a packed legislative agenda which we set out in our first King's Speech just before recess. More bills announced in that packed agenda than any other incoming comparable government of recent times. So we've already got to work in delivering that and introducing a number of bills before recess. A second reading of those bills, some will complete their common stages next week on rail, franchising, on fiscal responsibility, introducing a second reading of Great British Energy so that we can keep people's bills lower over the long term, and got many more things to come on renters' rights, on employment rights, on tackling water bosses' bonuses, and one of the things that we will be introducing, as was in that King's Speech, was the smoking and vaping bill, as you described that came from the previous government, because I think there has been a consensus for a long time now that we want to see a smoke-free country, because the health benefits of that and the benefits to our economy of a smoke-free country and a smoke-free generation are huge, and that's why it's something that we'll be working towards.
Okay, well, I'm taking that to mean that you are working pretty rapidly towards a situation where people cannot smoke, for example, in pub gardens. The hospitality industry's representatives have said pretty clearly, this is going to kill their businesses. After all, if you can't smoke in a pub garden, you might as well just get a keg and take it back to your flat and invite your mates around. Can you explain how attacking an industry that employs hundreds of thousands of people is going to contribute to growth, which you said is your central objective?
Well, look, we're certainly not attacking the hospitality industry. We support the hospitality industry. It's vital to our communities, our high street, our economy, as you say. I'm not going to preempt what is or isn't going to be in a future piece of legislation, but what I would say is that any such measures to extend some of these issues around smoking will be done in full consultation with business, with hospitality business. We will work incredibly closely about how we would tackle such issues and implement any such measures should they come forward, and the hospitality industry can be assured of that. And that's what we did when we spanned smoking in public places indoors in the last Labour government, which actually had led, all evidence showed that actually led to an increase in people attending clubs at the time.
But what they are wondering about, and what I'm asking you about, is the idea that you would ban smoking in the open air. And from what you have just said, it seems to me that you're pretty clear that you are moving to that outcome. Is that correct?
Well, look, as I've said to you, we've got a piece of legislation that's still being developed, that's mainly based on the legislation that was brought in by the previous conservative government, because there has been this consensus for some time that we want to get to a situation where people no longer smoke, and that's why increasing the age at which you can buy cigarettes is a key part of that. We also want to tackle this surge of vaping, by the way, which is your real for many. We know about the past measures.
I'm really just asking you about what you plan in relation to smoking in the open air. Just, are you in favor of banning that or not?
Well, as I say, should any such measures come forward in the future, and we are looking at different ways that we can achieve this collective ambition that I think we have, I'm sure everybody shares, because the deaths that come from smoking, 880,000 deaths that come from smoking, the impacts on the health service, not just from deaths, but from cancer and other diseases, the impact on the economy, on people's lives, people's ability to work. These are really big issues that we need to tackle, but I can assure the hospitality industry and you that any such measures would be designed and would be implemented and would be considered full consultation with licensing authorities and with businesses, and we will work together if we want to bring forward such measures.
Okay, so that's clear. That's in the prospect. Can I ask you about one other thing which you actually appeared you've made a decision about, and that is that there will be a budget at the end of October, and the Chancellor has already said that she won't raise national insurance rates for working people. Can I just get you to be precise about that? Does that mean that you will keep both employee contributions and employer contributions at the current rate, or does the Chancellor's pledge only mean that she will not raise rates on what the employee pays, but what the employer pays may still change?
Well, look, what we said in the election and what we stand by is that we won't be raising income tax, we won't be raising VAT, and we won't be raising a national insurance. But as you say, we've got a big budget coming at the end of this month. Those matters are for the Chancellor. I'm not involved in those discussions, as you would expect that I wouldn't be at this stage, but we are facing a difficult situation. Look, we were elected on a mandate of change, and as I've been laying out, we are delivering that change through our legislative agenda, but we do face a difficult economic situation, and the CHC
That's very helpful. Judd, what I understand from what you've just said is that neither employee contributions nor employer contributions will go up. Can I ask you about one other thing? The MO Group, the RAC, has called on the government to burst Rishi Sunak 2022 cut in fuel duty, which is, I think, £5 costs the Treasury about £2 billion a year. The RAC says that the energy companies aren't passing on the cut, and so motivists don't benefit. The energy companies are taking it as profit. Is that on the table?
I don't know is the honest answer, because I'm not involved in the budget decision. You wouldn't expect me to come onto your program and speculate about a budget, because I would be purely speculating. These are matters for the Chancellor. She has done an incredible job in a very short period of time looking at the country's finances, and what she's found is appalling. And to just take the metaphor that you started off at the beginning, your program with your Manchester music references, don't look back in anger. I'm afraid we do look back in anger at what the last government left to this government and the economic inheritance, and now we're faced with some really challenging choices. Thanks for watching this video.